Just a fade on the sides. Just touch up the beard a little bit.
What do you normally get? Is that your like main trim? Or your go-to trim?
Yeah, that's my main trim. Yeah, just low on the sides. Maybe from here.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Remember the days where we used to get level ones? Just the level, just the level one.
That's a traumatic experience still, bro.
It wasn't too bad at the time though, that's the thing. I feel like it was normal. It was normal to be fair, but...
It was normal until you went to school and all your boys at school had a fresh trim.
That's fair.
And it was actually my mum, funny enough, that was cutting my hair them times still. So I had to lie and say it was my dad because there's something more embarrassing about my mum giving me a trim and giving me a one cut with no shape
Fair.
up, no nothing.
Fair. Mum used to do the same thing to me and my younger brother and just start from front to back, everything off, no shape up, go and bath after.
It's terrorism.
Yeah.
How's your week been anyway?
Not too bad. No L's this week, but we thank God. We thank God. But I was gonna say, what's the biggest L you ever taken? And if you was to go through it again or talk to your younger self, how would you come back from that?
I guess if I had a proper understanding or concept of like saving and making my money work for me when I was younger, I think some of the situations I've been in my 20s, I think might have been prevented. I think if I was able to put money aside, just understood what it meant to kind of save for a rainy day, but also to make my money work for me. So like, you know, investing my money in something that was gonna, I don't know, help me in the long run, as opposed to just kind of like wasting my money on different products or clothes or whatever. If I had learned that lesson when I was younger, I think that would have been quite beneficial for me still. So it might not be my biggest L, but it's one of those things I look back at and I think it's not a massive regret. Try to not like have too many regrets that are on my mind, but I always think to myself, if I had more understanding of finances and just like how to use money appropriately and make it work for you, I think things would have been a lot easier for me in my 20s still. But what about you?
Mine is not exactly the same, but I always feel like, again, saving was one thing, but definitely just looking after my credit score. That was probably my biggest L, because I don't know, there was something about, I was very rebellious in a sense, because I thought, basically run the system. They're trying to keep us in a box, blah, blah. But as an adult now, I definitely learned my lesson, because why can't you look at what's wrong with you? Why are you not looking after your credit score, Mike? If I could tell myself, my younger self, basically look after your credit. It doesn't make sense to not look after your credit. I just would have. And also in terms of saving and investing, there's a lot I know about saving and investing now. But I feel like we save almost for no reason, or just in case for a rainy day, instead of actually having money and investing it. I feel like that should be a lesson that they either teach in school. I know they teach it in some schools, but we need to learn how to make our money work for us. So I know that he basically mentioned that. Make our money work for us. It doesn't make sense to just save senselessly. I've ruined my credit from when I was 18. Got to 21, I tried to get a phone contract. They were like, yeah, no, you've been declined. And I was like, can't run that again. The guy said, bro, there's nothing to run. The thing is not working. You need to go and get pay as you go. I lost my head. That's when I started researching into credit and I improved it basically. But yeah, I couldn't believe how bad I made it. And yeah, I would have been in a different position. Well, it's taken me longer to be in the position I am now in terms of credit and what I can do with my finances. But you learn the hard way, I guess.
No, you're right. I think the fact that you said that some schools teach it or whatever, funny enough, that's one of the things I've started doing, like in my school as a teacher. So like literally just this week, rather than just teaching maths, how I'd normally teach it, I tried to like conceptualize everything. So we looked at savings, salaries and budgets as a theme. And then we kind of just explored what it means to have an income, what it means to budget, what it means to save. And then obviously we use those themes as a way to basically teach all the other operations like subtracting, addition and stuff. And you'd be surprised, man, like these 9-10-year-olds, they don't have a full understanding of it, but once you tell it to them once, they're like, oh, okay, that's what that means. And I give you an example, yeah. I know someone who a couple of years ago, they were made redundant. don't know if it was a loan, but they had some type of debt basically that they would have paid off if they were working. But because they were made redundant, they weren't able to pay off that bill in time. So because they were struggling with the payments over a period of time, like the company said to them, because you failed to pay off this debt every month, account basically went into what they call a default.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of that before. So when she was explaining it to me, she was saying that it basically stays on your account for 7 years.
Is it 7?
It's 6 or 7 years, I think.
I thought it was 5 or 6, but yeah.
Yeah, 5, 6 or 7, one of them, yeah. And I was thinking to myself, okay, like if you're paying it off, surely it would go. And like she was saying, no, it wouldn't. It doesn't go just like that. So if you're trying to like rent a place, more often than not, they're gonna ask, do you have a default? And even if you paid it off 2 or 3 years ago, there's a chance that because you had that on your credit history, they're not gonna wanna let you stay in their place. So it doesn't affect you just wanting to like lend it doesn't affect you just wanting to borrow money from someone. Even if you wanted to just pay to live somewhere, if you've got that kind of bad credit history, it could affect that. And not even from a mortgage point of view, literally just to rent somewhere. So those kind of lessons there, you don't think that actually if you do some mad move when you're 18 and it's going to affect your credit history, I'm pretty sure you'd wish someone had told you beforehand, not worth it, bro. It's going to affect me in about 5, 6 years time from now. So
it's taken me a long time of just budgeting, and I think one of my problems actually was paying some of my debts back that I owed, trying to pay them back too quick. And I didn't know about anything to do with debt management or, but I tried to understand why or how I got into debt. Mine was because of a car, because I was trying to get a car really quickly from early. Didn't need to, but because everyone else was driving, why am I not driving, kind of thing. But that's besides the point. I should have just basically budgeted better or seeked, let's say, advice, and just thought, you know what, okay, I don't have to pay everything off in one go, because sometimes if you pay everything in one go, you have to borrow more anyway, because it's back and forth, but the interest keeps building.
yeah.
And yeah, I shouldn't have done that, but again, you learn from mistakes. I'm definitely gonna pass this information on to my kids, especially my son, first of all.
Yeah.
Teach him obviously, first of all, how to save, but also what investing is and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah, it's key.
even with mortgages as well. Apparently they teach that in schools, and I'm like, it took me, there was, I think I was mid-20s when I just decided I'd use a 24-hour period to just literally look at all the jargon and all the mortgage terms and even some of what is involved in, And I was interested. I was just thought it's basically a loan for houses, and I didn't know that. Literally, you heard the word mortgage, but you don't know. Couldn't grasp the idea of what it meant. And then when I actually researched what all the terms around mortgages and all the rest of it is, I was like, is that it? Wow, it's just a loan for a house, basically. But,
yeah, and it's important to know, because it's not as easy as just saying you're going to buy a house and then that's it. There's a lot of money that goes into it and stuff. But yeah, financial literacy, I think, is definitely key.
That's a good word there. You're using big words again.
Financial literacy, it's important, man. It's literally what separates some of us from
the rest.
Yeah, in terms of those that are thriving financially. So yeah. So again, it's not a massive L, but I think that's one of the things I look back on and I just think, damn, like, if I had known, if I was maybe educated from an earlier, like, you know, at an earlier age, or if my parents kind of like put me on, I would have, I could have possibly avoided certain situations that I was in. So, but hey, you live and you learn.
Definitely, bro.
You live and you learn.
I've done a lot of research again in my 20s. I keep saying in my 20s, I found myself in my 20s, bro. I had to keep going back and forth with myself. I had this little internal battle. But in terms of looking at investments and assets, because I basically just Googled it one day. I said, how do rich people, or how do wealthier people maintain their wealth? How they keep it in their family? How they get wealth in the first place? They don't do anything we do at all.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, that's crazy. It sounds simple actually, because they basically make their assets pay for their liabilities, if that makes sense. They reduce their liabilities, so on and so forth. But they just buy stuff that makes them money while I'm buying chocolate and cars, for example. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Or putting all your money into clothes and then throwing away those clothes within a year and doing the same thing again. Yeah. No, I think it's definitely important to educate yourself.
If you had a chance to go back, would you? And start again? or you're happy with what like you've learned. That's basically, do you think it's built character, the fact that you've gone through certain things and you are where you are now?
Yeah, I wouldn't go back again. I'm very much of the mind that like the person I am today I'm a product of my environment, but also like the circumstances and situations I've had to go through. So like, I don't think I would have the mindset that I have or the resilience that I have. The qualities about myself that I do appreciate and that I like about myself, I think it was my life experiences that kind of like helped mold me into that. So I don't think I'd go back. I don't think I'd go back and change anything, if I'm being honest.
I think for me, personally, I'm the same as you. I feel like it's built me into the person I am today. I wouldn't go back. As much as it's tempting, or if the opportunity was there, as much as it would be tempting, I think I've experienced certain things, I've gone through certain things, it's definitely built me into the person I am today. Especially the hard times, I feel. Those are the most, I think, character building times. And it definitely, I feel like when you, it depends on how you handle stress. And I'm very much a person that likes to handle stress head on. I can't stand any family members that run away from stress. I know it's hard. You don't have to tackle it straight away, you can do it tomorrow, but please don't run away from it forever. It doesn't make sense. You know, I always use this analogy where if you keep sweeping everything under the carpet, it's gonna get to the point where that carpet is now just covering the fridge and covering mad furniture. You're gonna fall over it, or it's just gonna be an eyesore. So you have to tackle it at one point. There's an elephant in the room, don't do that. But yeah, I don't think I'd go back. I don't think I'll go back. I'm pretty happy with where I am now. Thank God. Hallelujah.